Republicans are complaining about them. Shocking.
It's always somebody else's fault, isn't it?
Let's know what the Affordable Care... Would you let me finish? First of all, I agree that having high...
I notice, Zeke, you've lost your smile. Are you now going to apologize for what you've done? I think you should apologize, and if you can't, we're done. Zeke, it was a pleasure.
Give
my best to your brother. Zeke, thank you very much indeed. Smile. It's over. It was fun, I got to say. That was just a little part of my interview with Zeke Emanuel, architect of Obamacare, which I say is in a death spiral. We're going to fact-check what Zeke had to say during our show yesterday. First of all, listen to this.
The first point is we have insured 20 million people, so whatever your version of failure is, that's a big improvement, and we now have less than 30 million Americans without insurance. That's a substantial improvement.
Okay, hold on a second. We have Betsy McCaughey with us. She's the author of Beating Obamacare. He says 20 million uninsured and they're now less than 30 million.
The lion's share of those 20 million people were enrolled in Medicaid, Stuart. They're not covered by Obamacare plans. The fact is 8 million previously uninsured people were enrolled in Obamacare plans, and maybe some of them are winners. Not all wanted to do it. But the fact is, compare them with the 11 million Americans who are paying penalties because they don't want Obamacare, 11 million, and 5 million people who lost their plans and lost their doctors because they had to give up their plans because of this.
You know, sometimes I have to restrain you, so restrain yourself for just a second, okay? Here's another one. Betsy, roll that tape, please.
The second point is, in many of the states you identify where we don't have enough insurers, that is a long-standing problem of rural areas, and I totally agree we need to address it. It is not escaping, but it's not a problem that the Affordable Care Act created.
Okay, there are 5 states, hold on, 5 states where there is one insurer, 17 states where there is either 1 or 2 insurers. He says it's not Obamacare's fault. Go.
It is not a rural problem. It is Obamacare's fault. One of the states that's suffering the most because of this is Florida. We see many states where there were 4 or 5 insurers. It's down to 1 because the other insurers dropped out this year. Aetna, Humana, United Healthcare. They're all dropping out because they're losing billions of dollars on a plan that cannot be executed.
That was a short answer with all that got to say. That was very good. Okay, we've got another one for you. Point number 3, roll tape.
The third point I want to make is that, in fact, health insurance premiums have not come down, but have not increased at the same rate they did between 2000 and 2010. In fact, the American public, according to recent analyses, are actually saving a substantial amount of money compared to where we expected.
That's the Wizard of Oz. The fact is, health insurance premiums are shooting up on average 23% this year. And let's put this in perspective. When Obamacare was passed, just before it was passed, health spending was increasing at the slowest pace in 50 years, 3.9%, Stuart. Now, according to the Congressional Budget Office, it's increasing at over 5%, and as soon it's going to be increasing at 6%. So Obamacare did not slow the increase in health care spending. It accelerated it.
I made another comment. I said, does your brother, Rahm Emanuel, who runs Chicago, is the mayor of Chicago, I said, is he going to have to pay the 55% premium increases like everybody else in Illinois? Now, he didn't answer the question, but am I factually correct?
Oh, yes. 4 out of 5 people in Illinois enrolled in Obamacare will have a 51% premium hike this year. Too bad. And finally, what Zeke Emanuel is calling for is tougher penalties to keep people into this losing plan. The fact is, the next president on day 1, Inauguration Day, should suspend those penalties on Obamacare uninsured people so that people have a choice of whether to buy these losing plans or not. They're facing penalties of $1,000 or more per person.
Well, we had a lot of people get on Facebook and make comments about the interview that we did. And a lot of them were pointing out the idea of these deductibles. It's not just 6,000 or 7,000. One person wrote in and said, look, for 2 people, a couple.
12,000.
For this lady, it was 9,000.
Yeah.
$11,000, but it can go up to 10 or 11 or $12,000.
$12,000 deductible after you've paid an enormous amount for the plan. You never get any of it back. But here's something that's very telling. More people have paid the penalty choosing not to have Obamacare than signed up for Obamacare.
Is that true?
More
people paid the penalty than actually signed up?
Yes. More than 11 million people paid the penalty to avoid having Obamacare.
All right, Betsy, I'm glad you know your stuff, and I wish I'd have had that stuff in my head when I did the interview yesterday, but you can't get a word in edgewise.
I know.
All right.